Good morning, guys. Kip here, Thousands of Roots, and we had crazy winds last night. I mean, like Carrie and I didn't hardly sleep because we were thinking, okay, let's listen for the tornado. Um, yeah, crazy winds last night. Our tunnels blew over and stuff like that, but thankfully it looks like no real major damage. So, woohoo! It's been a very, very busy week. We have somebody I want you to meet. All right, so this is who I want you all to meet. Who are you and what are you doing here?
Hey, I'm Chris, and brought my family out on a schoolie trip, a little vacation, get away from the Maine winter, and we're here for a few weeks, just visiting, enjoying this little area here.
Yeah. How many children you got?
We got 6 kids, and
Yeah.
we're packing this little schoolie tight, but we're making it happen, so it's fun.
So here's the setup, you guys. Right back here.
So it has been a lot of fun having another family on our land and so close. The children have been playing together and just having a lot of fun. We've had some neat fellowship time, so just really thankful to have another family close by right now. And in the greenhouse now, it's got my little one back there. It's a sunny day, but a bit windy out still, so I'm going to be in the greenhouse today for a little bit taking care of this. I've been working on a new experiment. I've never grown lavender or perennial herbs before from seed. Well, I think I've tried, but I have not been successful. So this year I got a start with these seedlings up on our warmer, on our cook stove, and put a little bag over the top, and they germinated. It's only been a couple weeks and they've already germinated and they're getting a bit spindly. So I'm gonna up pot them today, and I'm still not sure how I'm going to keep them in the environment they need. They need some warmth and sunshine, so I'm going to have to get a little creative to see if I can make enough space up on the warmer and keep them covered so they don't dry out. So I'm going to try and get these into some bigger pots so they can grow on until they're ready to go out in the garden. Are you my little greenhouse buddy this morning? Wow, it is super bright in here. So these are my 3 options for up potting. I've got just these little 1.5 inch by 2 inch, I think they are. I've got a little bit bigger one here, or this deeper 4-inch pot, which would be really nice. I would love to be able to plant all these little seedlings into this size pot, because then they would be able to continue to grow all the way until when I can plant them in the garden. But I don't think I'm going to have enough space on my warmer for a bunch of the bigger pots, and I also won't have a way to keep them covered and keep them from drying out. You may know this if you have a cook stove, it dries out your house, or can, incredibly, and so keeping little sprouts moist is quite a challenge. So I think I'm going to just go with these smaller pots at this point, and that way I can hopefully get a better setup for all these little seedlings inside. Alright, so I'm going to start with lavender. We got some lavender seeds from a subscriber, and I'm not sure the variety. It just said lavender, so I'm going to do 6 of those into the little pots here. These are so fragile. So what I'm doing is I'm trying to find the ones that have the best root system, and then those are the ones I'm going to transplant. Okay, so I'm laying them out on this little tray here. And often I found that oftentimes the largest plants are not necessarily the ones with the strongest root system. So sometimes the size of the plant can be deceiving. There was a pretty tall one and the roots very small. So I think that's just about all of them. I'm gonna try and pick the ones, 6 of them that have the best root system. Oh, one more. There's one more here. And then all I'm going to do is just poke a little hole, and I'm going to sink them in pretty deep because the stems have gotten really long. So I'm going to, like this one. This one's got a pretty good root system on it. So I'm going to stick it way down deep in there and actually bury it in quite a ways since it's so spindly. Actually, I could probably even go deeper than that. Okay, I've got all 6 little seedlings transplanted, so now I'm just gonna water them in a little more. I did water the soil before planting, but I noticed I didn't quite get the water deep enough, so I'm gonna give them a little bit more water here and hope for the best. They're so tiny and fragile, and the root systems were quite small still on all of them, so we'll see. Hopefully some of them make it. Alright, so next is going to be homestead lavender. I think a more cold hardy lavender variety, so I'm excited about that one. And I actually planted more, about double of that, so I may do 2 to equal a dozen of those. We'll see. Just watering in the homestead lavender now. I think I'm just gonna stick to these 6 for now. I want to make sure I have room for everything up on our warmer. So next will be sweet marjoram, and then the last one's gonna be lovage. Alright, so the sweet marjoram are so tiny. Look how tiny they are. They're itty bitty. So tiny. So fragile. It's just amazing that they start out so little like this. So I think I'm just gonna actually break off little chunks for now and sink the whole chunk in at this point. And I'll probably have to pull up some eventually, but for now they're just so fragile. I don't want to break them, break their little root system, so I think that's how I'll do the marjoram. Alright, marjoram's done. They are so tiny and fragile. I think if I ever do marjoram again, I'll probably plant them in larger pots. Just a couple seeds per pot, so that I don't have to try and up pot them, because they are just so fragile. Tiny, tiny fragile plants. Alright, and last I have lovage. And these ones have just sprouted. So I probably could just leave them in this pot for a little bit longer, but since I'm limited on space, I'm gonna go ahead and transplant them now. So lovage is similar to celery, and it's a perennial in our area, so I'm excited to grow it. I did plant one plant a couple years ago of lovage in our garden, and it didn't survive the winter. I think it just wasn't in a very good location. So I'm gonna try again, see if we can get them in the right location. Oh, it's really hard to get the roots in deep enough. They're just so fragile, I don't want to break them. So you kind of have to dig down deep and try and shove them down in there without breaking them. Alright, got the lovage transplanted. And just for fun, I've got a few extra here. I'm going to probably just plant these in the greenhouse somewhere, and then I might also plant the extra homestead lavender in the greenhouse and just see if it makes it. It may be still too cold. Alright, I've got them all transplanted or up potted, and I put them all in little trays. That will help me be able to just take them down from our warmer to water them when I need to water them. So we're gonna take them inside and see if I can find a way to cover them and settle them back in on their warmer. Ladybug is helping bring them in here. They're gonna go back on the warmer. I'm not sure if that plastic's good on the warmer or not. I may have to figure something else out here. You just set them on the table for now? Sure. Thanks. Alright, Kip's off working on something to, a container system to put all those little sprouts on the warmer to keep them from drying out. And so I'm back out here in the greenhouse. I'm going to just prepare the area for the onions. I don't think I have to transplant them quite yet. They've got a little more time. Some of them have just started sprouting. Last year what I did for growing onions from seed, it was the first time doing that. I just used a little area in our front planter bed. I just let the onions grow until it was safe to plant them outdoors, and we actually got onion from seed for the first time last year. So I'm hopeful for even more this year. We eat a lot of onions. So I am going to also get sets this year, so we'll do both the seed onion and the sets. Boy, it's windy out. There's a little area. I'm just gonna fill this in with dirt because it's sunk down. We need to put some more soil and compost in there. Got one surviving little kale. I'll probably just leave the kale and then we'll put the onions, transplant the onions all along here. And I think that I'll also put the little, the few little lovage sprouts that were left over down here as well. The little kohlrabi is still growing. It overwintered in the greenhouse here. It's still quite small, but it's growing. Alright, so I added some soil in this little spot here, and you can't really see them, they're so tiny, but I transplanted the 3 extra little lovage plants in this corner and marked them off, so hopefully people will know that there's something planted there. For those who might be interested, Esther's little miniature garden here, she added some moss to make like a little carpet. I think that's really cute. And the plants are just thriving in here. They're growing. There's actually little teeny tiny blue flowers growing on one of the little plants. So really fun. Real quick, I wanted to show you another way I've been experimenting with growing perennials for the first time this year. I planted some things out here in our garden underneath this tote just turned upside down. And so I'm gonna check them today. There was I think I planted 10 different things and only one had sprouted. That was columbine. I don't know if it's a blue or pink, one or the other. Columbine. Yeah, I'm gonna see how they're doing. Looks like still just the one columbine has sprouted. There was columbine in this area here, nothing sprouted. And I just use little sticks to create like a grid, and then I have a map. I love columbine. We've so far in our garden we've just transplanted wild columbine from our creek side, and I like some of the different colors that you can get, so I'd be so excited if some of the columbine makes it. Okay, back out of the wind again. Forgot to say that I planted the seeds underneath that tote in the garden in the fall. I think it was pretty late fall, and so they just overwintered, and I did water them a couple times because they don't get the rain obviously under that tote, but other than that I've just left them alone in hopes that something would sprout.
Alright, so this is the idea I came up with. My wife came in like, what am I gonna do to cover this stuff? My precious little baby plants. And so I'm like, what about this tote that was holding the children's little block toys?
So all the little babies are safe under there. They don't get a whole lot of sunlight with this, so I probably will put them out on sunny days to be able, warm sunny days, to be able to get a little more sunlight. Thank you, love.
Oh, you're welcome.
You saved the day.
You're welcome.
Hey guys, my daddy was recently interviewed by Jennifer Grayson on the Uncivilized Podcast. Uncivilized Codpat. The Uncivilized Podcast. Check out the link below in the description. She did a great job.
She would have you do that all day with her, huh, Caleb?
Yep. It's hard because she's pushing the brakes.
Oh, she's got her feet on the pedals a little. It's Esther Pie's bike, and she just loves being pushed on it, huh?
Yep.
Alright guys, thanks for joining me in the greenhouse today. I am still quite new at learning how to handle little teeny seedlings and prick them out into bigger pots. Wanted to do a quick update on the calf, and she is way out to pasture, so I can't get video for you, but she is back to herself, back to normal, just loving frolicking in the field with our other calf. So we're really excited, really thankful to have 2 healthy calves out in the pasture playing together. Thank you so much to all who prayed, and we're just really thankful. Thanks for joining me again. We pray blessing over you and yours, and whatever you do, do it with your whole heart. Good morning, Biddle. What are you eating? Licorice? Licorice fruit. She didn't like it at first because it has no sugar. It's just straight licorice root extract, but I guess she likes it now. Was that nummy? Was that nummy, Bit? Watching Daddy.